holy cow, there is a Lamborghini Centenario sitting there, and I'm just mind blown. I had never seen one in person. I'd never even thought about it. It was never even on my bucket list. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Jake Reilly, and today we're actually not going to be vlogging. We're going to be filming on this baby. Let's get started. So, welcome back to the channel, guys. My name's Jake Reilly, and today we're going to talk about the time that I got to see a Lamborghini Centenario. Alright guys, like I said, today we're actually going to be filming on this camera, so it's going to be locked down the whole time. I'm going to have some shots kind of cut into here, but the main point of this story today is just kind of to explain my experience that I had when I went to New York in 2017, December 2017, and kind of my experience with the cars there, and Manhattan Motor Cars is specifically like the main dealership I'm going to be talking about in this situation. And this is more just me being able to document this and have it all in one video, and then also just a way to share with you the amazing experience that I had when I went there as a 15 or 16-year-old. So let's jump into it. So starting off this story, I want to preface this with, I had gone with my family to New York City for Christmas. Actually, it was after Christmas but before New Year's Eve. So that little window right there we went, and it was freezing. The weather was not, it just wasn't good, and so we didn't spend a ton of time outside, but there was one day on our trip where we had some free time, me and my mom did. And so me and my mom, I've always loved the Alfa Romeo 4C, and that's always just been my dream car. So I was like, I wonder if there's any dealerships here, because it's New York City, there's got to be some cool cars. So I went online, I typed in Alfa Romeo 4C, and there was one for sale. It was about 10 minutes from where we were, so we had about an hour to kind of go look at cars and all this. So when we went down there, on the way down, we saw there was a Mercedes AMG dealership, I think there was an Audi dealership, and then the Alfa Romeo dealership. So when we got there, I immediately went to the Alfa Romeo 4C, and as you can see, it's a really beautiful car. I love this car. I have some specs here. I just wanted to write them down so I wouldn't forget them. They run about $56,000. That's like the base price, but with options, I've seen them anywhere up to $80,000. And the engine underneath them is actually smaller than my BRZ. It's a 1.7 liter 4-cylinder, but it does have a turbo on it, so it's producing 237 horsepower, so a little bit more than this car, and it's a lot lighter. It only weighs 2,500 pounds. So it's a heck of a car, and for under $100,000, you're getting a really sweet car. You're getting something that nobody really knows what it is. It's outlandish, it's Italian, it's a fantastic car. And the interior, it's a race car. So at this point, we were done. That's all I really wanted to see was the Alfa Romeo 4C. But I was like, if I'm down here and there's cars I can see, I want to go see them before I head back to North Carolina. So I asked my mom if we could go to the AMG dealership, which was literally like a 2-minute walk from the Alfa Romeo dealership. And when we got there, the entrance, there were a bunch of AMG cars. I didn't know a ton about Mercedes at this time, which I wish I had, because I probably would have appreciated some of the cars a little more. But I did see an AMG GTR. Now these started at about $150,000. It's a 4-liter V8 bi-turbo, so it's got 2 turbos on it. And that produces about 577 horsepower, which it's a heck of a car. And if you ever heard one, they sound fantastic. 0 to 60s in 3.3 seconds. And the top speed, you might as well just say it's 200. It's about 196, give or take a little bit. And so I was stoked. We went and looked around. I wanted to go find some G-Wagons, but we spent about half an hour there, half an hour at the Alfa Romeo dealership. So at this point, my mom was basically like, come on Jake, we gotta go. We don't have time to be looking at all these cars. We have to go home or go back to our hotel. But I was like, Mom, we're down here. There's some really cool dealerships. I wanna go check them out. So there was also an Audi dealership. Now, I was never a huge fan of Audis, but I did like the TTS. The TTS is kind of the competitor to the 4C. It's not as, I wouldn't say it's as outlandish, but it's probably a little bit more refined, probably a little bit faster too. So we went there and I saw an Audi R8 V10 Plus and the TTS. I sat in both of them. They're both fantastic cars. A little bit on the Audi R8. The V10 Plus, it starts at right under $200,000. It's a 5.2 liter V10. I think it's actually the same exact engine that's in the Lamborghini Huracan. It's just Audi's version of it. 610 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds, and a top speed of 205 miles an hour. So, heck of a car. Sitting inside of it, the steering wheel is crazy. I'll show a picture right here. You've got the push button start on the steering wheel. You've got a checkered flag, which I'd assume is some sort of race mode. You have your loud exhaust mode. It was fantastic. So at this point, I was done. I had seen my 4C. I had looked at some Audis, some AMGs. I was completely satisfied. I didn't really expect anything more. I was like just typing my phone. I was like, you know, I've never seen a Lamborghini. I want to go see one. So what I did is I typed in Lamborghini, and a little thing popped up about 2 blocks away from where we were, and it said Lamborghini, Bentley, Porsche, Bugatti dealership. And so I was like, Mom, I know we need to go home or go back to our hotel, but I mean, I can't pass up seeing a Bugatti or a Lamborghini or some sweet Porsches. I didn't expect anything crazy out of this. I just kind of wanted to go see, maybe there would be a Huracan there, maybe an Aventador. I didn't expect anything. So she finally says yes after I kept bugging her. And so we started walking, and we got to the dealership. There were like 2 entrances, but the main one was out of the way. It wasn't the way we were coming. So I saw the second entrance, and there was a sign that said, please use the other entrance. So I was starting to turn around to head to the main entrance when I got a glimpse of something really exotic inside the dealership. So I was like, it's probably like an Aventador or something. I run over there and I look in, and holy cow, there is a Lamborghini Centenario sitting there, and I'm just mind blown. I had never seen one in person. I'd never even thought about it. It was never even on my bucket list. I didn't even think I'd see one. There's only 40 of them in the world. 20 are coupes, 20 are the convertibles, and I think there's only 4. Yeah, there's only 4 in the US. This one happened to be the second one delivered to the US. And so I'm in awe. I could not stop standing there. And so I bolt. I head back to the main entrance. I'm like, Mom, I have to go see this. And so she follows me, and I get in there as fast as I can. They probably thought I was stealing something, and I run up to it. I'm just, I am astonished by this. I mean, this car is, these cars in pictures, they look big, they look cool, but compared to this car, the Centenario is just, it's so unbelievably low, and it's so much wider than you would think. Probably wouldn't even fit in my garage here. And so I was shaken. It had some like guardrails around it because this car costs a lot of money. It was fully exposed carbon fiber, red accents. You can find it online if you look it up. And so let me run over some of the specs of this car, because this car it's crazy. So basically, it's kind of a Lamborghini Aventador underneath, but it's just kind of like they took the notch on like what they could do to it, and they like turned it all the way to 10 and then some. So it cost about $1.9 million. I think that's what they start at. I'm sure they're selling for more than that. It is a 6.5 liter naturally aspirated V10 producing 770 horsepower. That's ridiculous. 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. The only reason that that's so slow compared to the horsepower number is because it's a single clutch, and it's an older car. It's not like a newer one, so it's not fantastic. Now this is a crazy statistic. 0 to 186 miles an hour in 23.5 seconds. That's mind-blowing. That's crazy fast. Top speed of 217 miles an hour, and like I said, there's 40 of these in the world. So the chance that I got to see one open on a showroom floor, it was the coupe, which in my opinion I think looked better than the convertibles, and there's 20 of them in the world, but there's only 4 in the US. So for me to be there and see it, it's a once in a lifetime moment. I was crazy, and I didn't even mention there's a Huracan next to it, an Aventador, there's a Performante, and I didn't even see those. I was focusing solely on the Centenario. And so there's a guy sitting at the desk in this like Lamborghini section, and I asked him, I went up and I was like, hey man, like I really want to see a Carrera GT because I love those cars. So I asked him, I was like, do you have any Carrera GTs that I could check out? Because I knew it was a Porsche dealership. And he's like, but we have a 918 Spider upstairs, and I look at him and I'm like, he said it would like, it was just like, it was no big deal to him because he's sitting around all these cars all the time, and he's just like, there's a 918 upstairs. And so I look at my mom and my jaw drops. I'm like, Mom, there's a 918 upstairs. So I make a beeline up the stairs, and my mom stops in the Bentley section and she's checking those out, and she's looking at those. And so I run up and I check out the 918, and I'm like, if you don't know too much about this car, I wrote some stuff down. This is part of the Holy Trinity. You've got the LaFerrari, you have the McLaren P1 and the 918, and the Holy Trinity kind of consists of these very expensive hypercars that are hybrid powertrains and just crazy fast track monsters. So the 918 is technically like the successor to the Carrera GT, so it was pretty cool for me. I have written down it's a $1.5 million car. I've seen them on Auto Trader all the way up to $2 million. The combustion engine in it is a 4.6 liter V8 producing 887 horsepower, and it probably doesn't produce that much. There's a hybrid powertrain that kind of helps it with its 0 to 60 time of 2.8 seconds. That's insane. Top speed of 211 miles an hour. The interior of this is crazy. You've got like a center tablet. My pictures aren't too good at this, but there's like a center tablet in the middle, and then you have the steering wheel with basically everything on it. Every mode, everything is controlled on the steering wheel because this is a track monster. Super fast. I was astonished by this, and so I was like, I wanted to go look at the Centenario again. I couldn't get enough of the Centenario, so I get in the elevator, and this coworker, he's coming into the elevator, and then he's like, crap, I forgot something. So he runs back to his desk, and I was like, I'm just gonna be a nice guy because these people are letting me look at their very expensive cars. I'd already seen probably about, added up, probably about $3.5 to $4 million worth of cars just at that dealership, maybe more. And so I hold the elevator for him, and he comes back, he's like, thanks man, like, yeah, like no problem. And I'm like, this guy's, he works here, he's crazy. I was like, maybe he knows something. So I asked him, I'm like, hey man, do you have any Carrera GTs in stock? Because I didn't see any upstairs, so I was a little upset about that. And he's like, you know, we don't have any, I don't think, but I'm supposed to be clocking out, but I'll take you up to the workroom and I'll show you around and see if there's any up there. And so I'm like, crap, my mom's still looking at the Bentleys. I just got in this elevator with this stranger, and he's gonna take me up a floor and show me some cars. I was a little nervous, but I was also like, if I get to see a Carrera GT, you know, it's like, if you want to go into that van to get the candy, it doesn't really matter what happens after it. At least you got offered the candy. So, oh man, I need content. All right, so from there, we head up to the next floor, and we get out, and he runs and leaves me on this workroom floor, and there's tons of cars around me, and so I'm like, I'm a little nervous because I'm this 15-year-old kid just standing around like lots of expensive cars while he's getting whatever from his locker. And so I'm like glancing around the workroom, and I look and I'm like, there's no way that's a Bugatti, but it is a Bugatti. And so I'm freaking out. I'm like, there's a Bugatti right in front of me, like, this car is insane, what do I do? So I get my phone out and I start walking over to, I'm videoing it. And remember, this is like, these people are working. So they're working on cars, these are customer cars that are being serviced. So people are staring at me like, how'd this kid get up here? Like, what's he doing? Why is he walking over to this Bugatti? And so at the time, I didn't know too much about this Bugatti. I just thought it was a Veyron. I didn't know that much about cars. But while researching for this video, I noticed on the side it says LeBlanc, and it looked a little bit like it had been modded. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it's still like a crazy expensive car. So I look it up, and this is it's a special edition Bugatti Veyron Super Sport. So the like track focused version of the Veyron, which was supposed to set the top speed record, and this set the top speed of 268.7 miles an hour. That's ridiculous. That's so fast. This one I think is $2.8 million. It's an 8-liter quad turbocharged W16 engine. So basically 2 V8s with 4 turbochargers. 1200 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. It's nuts. At this point, I'd seen a Centenario, I'd seen a 918, my dream car, the Alfa Romeo 4C, and now a Veyron Super Sport. I couldn't have asked for any more, and the story just keeps getting crazier from here. So he comes back eventually, and I'm like, dude, like, this is crazy. I can't believe you work here. I can't remember, like, I was lost for words, as I still am. I'm still astonished that I wish I had the guy's name so I could write him a letter and thank him, but he takes me up. So at this point, we're on the 3rd floor, and he takes me up one more to the 4th floor. And when we get up there, it's pretty dark. There isn't anyone up there, but there's like Lamborghini, Audi, Bentley, Porsche, like tons of cars. And so he just looks over at me. He's like, "Which one do you want to sit in?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I've got a Lamborghini, I've got a Porsche, a Bentley. I think there are Rolls Royces too." And I was like, "I don't know what I want to sit in." I was like, it's like that question everyone asks you, like, if you could have one dream car, what would it be? So I was like, I don't know. I'm sitting there like all antsy. I'm like a kid in a candy shop, and I'm like, the Lamborghini Aventador there, like I want to sit in that. So I think he had the keys in his pocket, or he grabbed them off a shelf, but he hands it to me. He's like, "Go start it up." And I'm like, he's about to go let me start up a Lamborghini Aventador. I'm 15 years old, and I'm about to start a Lamborghini Aventador. So hands me the key. I walk over there, and he's like, "Hey man, let me start it up real quick, make sure the battery's not dead." So I'm videoing this. I'll show the video right here. But so he starts it up. It sounds fantastic. My laughing in the video, yeah, it's funny. And so at that point, he hands me the key. He's like, "Let me get video of you getting in this. Like, you want to show your parents, show your friends that you've sat in a Lamborghini Aventador." So I walk over there and I open the door. First time I'd ever opened Lamborghini doors, and it just goes up. I sit down. I wish I had taken more time to like appreciate everything that was around me, because I was so focused on like not scraping anything, not making a fool of myself. Like, my mom also at this time is texting me like, "Where the heck are you? Like, I'm still looking at Bentleys. What happened? Where'd you go?" And so I text her, I'm like, "Mom, I can't explain. I'm sitting in a really cool car. I'll text you later." And so he's like, "All right, video's going, start it up." And so here's the video.
Oh, awesome. Go for it.
Don't you put my foot on the brake?
Put it down. Yep, foot on the brake. Say hi.
Oh my God, thank you so much. How do you get out? Is it this button? Oh, there we go.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, I'll let you get out. Oh.
My man stepping out his brand new Lambo. Don't worry, he's gonna pick it up in a few years, no problem.
Yeah, thank you, that's sweet. So as you can see in that video, I get to start it up, and I ask him like halfway through the video, I'm like, "Can I rev it?" Because I'm in this car and the sound is crazy. The only way I can describe it is like, all right, so you have like a really nice sounding V8, like a Mustang. You've got the Ricer Civics that sound like lawnmowers. You've got all these other cars, and they all sound like fantastic. But the only way I can describe the Aventador is just like, "F you." Like, the sound is crazy. It's a V12, so it's a 6.5 liter V12, and it's just like, you start it up and like everyone around you, you're just like giving them the finger. It's just like, oh, it's crazy, the sound. And I revved it to like 2,500 too. Like, I didn't rev it very much because I was afraid, like, 1, it might shoot flames, 2, I don't want to break anything, 3, this is so unbelievably loud. So some specs on the Aventador I have written down: 730 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds, top speed of 217 miles an hour. So at this point, everything is like, I'm dreaming. I should have pinched myself. I was in this like childhood dream of mine to be sitting in these cars. I don't even want to add it up right now, but it's probably well over $5 million worth of cars I've seen, sat in, started, revved, and probably 3,000 horsepower too that I've experienced, like seen. So then he's like, all right, well, we got to go find your Carrera GT. And I'm like, are you serious? Like, you just let me sit in a Aventador. I saw a Bugatti, and now you're going to help me find a Carrera GT? So the guy's walking me around, and we eventually find one.
The man is going inside his Carrera GT. He's just picking up. About to take it back down. Soft to where it came from. Matter of fact, I think he changed his mind. He's gonna leave it with us for a couple more days and then he'll be back to pick it up.
Thank you so much.
And these cars, like in person, are just so much better than the pictures. Like these pictures I'm showing you don't do it justice. But this car is crazy, the Carrera GT. If you don't know that much about it, this is basically like the most race car that you can get and buy for the street. There's no traction control, there's no computers helping you whatsoever. A lot of people call this like the last great supercar or race car because like I consider my BRZ a very decent sports car. It's fantastic, but I mean there's still computers, it's still, you're not that engaged because it's just not, it's a fantastic car, but compared to this Carrera GT, it's not. And so I mean, let's talk about the interior. That's right, you're sitting here, the key is by the door, and then you've got your shifter. Most shifters are like down here. This one is like up right here, so like your hand only has to go like this far when you shift. And so it's crazy. The clutch in this car has been notorious for being very difficult to drive. Some specs on this, about $500,000. I think they're being marked up. I think they're raising the prices on them and they're anywhere near like $750,000 now. It's a 5.7 liter V10, and I'm pretty sure the story behind this engine is, and like this car, is Porsche was developing a Le Mans racing car, which if you don't know what that is, it's a 24-hour race, endurance race. It's crazy, and they were developing it, and then I think some new regulations came in, and Porsche was like, well, we can't use this engine, it's too powerful, we can't use it, it wouldn't fit the regulations. So they were like, I guess we could put it in a street car. So that's where the Carrera GT was born. All right, so finally, at this point, my mom's getting a little worried, and I'm, at this point, like he's got to clock out. He's been up here like half an hour with me taking videos of me. And so he's like, well, you want to sit in one more? And so I pick a Porsche 911 GT3. He asked me right before, he's like, really? Like, we're around all these cars and you pick a 911 GT3? And I was like, yeah, it's a cool car, I like it. So I sat in that when I started it up, and so you'll see in this video, I'll play right now.
Yeah. Alright. Started up his Carrera GT. He brought it in for service, but maybe he'll leave this one as well and come back to pick it up. Awesome.
Alright, thanks.
there's a point where I look at him and I'm a little scared because this is a very expensive car. It's about, my guess is probably about $200,000 to $300,000, and it held the revs. It was like it was almost about to launch. It was a manual. I had it out of gear, clutch was out, and it was just sitting there. So I kind of freak out, and you see that in the video. This car is a 6-cylinder boxer, 500 horsepower. Top speed is right around 200 miles an hour. I think it's a little bit less, but that was about it. I head back downstairs and I check out some of the other Porsches. There was a GT3 RS, a 911 Turbo S, a 911R. There were some of the Porsche SUVs. And I asked him if they had a Bugatti, because remember, this is a Bugatti dealership too. And he said that they had a Chiron 2 weeks ago, but not anymore. So that's pretty much it for the story and all the cars I got to see. It was insane. I still can't believe it happened, and I'm so grateful that I got to experience that. And eventually, if I do get to buy one of those cars, I want to find this guy and buy it from him. That's the video. If you have any comments, leave them down below. If you haven't checked out my last video, I took the muffler back off this car, and then I also worked on the headlights. I talked a little bit about BRZ 2.0, which I keep saying it should be coming soon. I think at this point it is coming soon. I just finished up sending them the sizing for it, and so they should be shipping that out soon. I haven't talked about where I'm going to college. I got accepted, and you saw the hat in the last video, but I did get into Appalachian State University for computer science. I'll be starting there in the fall, probably around August time. I'm working on getting everything submitted, my medical stuff. I need to buy parking passes, get sheets, get everything. I'm still in the process of doing that, but don't worry, these videos are still gonna be made once I'm in college. This car should be interesting up at Appalachian. But yeah, thanks for watching this video. My name's Jake Reilly. Thank you for watching, and give this video a like, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.